how do you restore trust? You create an all-party sort of a group where all party members, mixed ethnicity, can go from one relief camp to another. That too has not happened. I am not saying that big things happen. Small things should happen. Anshuman, that has also not happened.
Yes, absolutely. And as we were discussing in your channel a few days back, when that certain peace committee was formed, that itself was a non-starter. That itself showed, the lack of trust among various stakeholders, and more than that, the inability, or rather the deliberate unwillingness of the administration to sort of foster that sense of trust. So forget about what you are talking is a very imaginative and much needed solution, rather, where there's an all-party coalition of the willing, or all-party sort of group that travels from camp to engineer trust. That would take a lot of proactive effort, and given the bar that this government seems to have set, both the state and central government seems to have set, I think, as Dr. Chakma put it, that's quite far out at the moment. The preliminary steps towards restoring trust, only those itself haven't been taken so far, and all of it, I would repeat, goes back to a very top down approach, an unflinching top down unmoving approach that the state government seems to be taking, that despite whatever happens, despite the fraying of the social contract in the state, that the leadership won't change, that the leadership won't budge. Why this arrogance after more than 2 months? I don't understand. Why this arrogance after so many lives have been lost? And what I do not understand is that it's fair to assume that the BJP High Command has a certain degree of leverage, political leverage, given that we are in a federal structure, a certain political leverage over the state government. Why isn't it able to constructively use that leverage to ensure that trust is restored in Manipur, right? So this is a point that I want to drive, that it's not just about bottom-up initiatives, but it's also right now what we are seeing is a reflection and abdication from the very top at both the central and sort of state centers of power. And I would also take this opportunity to say that, while this all-party meeting goes on, there has to be a simultaneous discussion on setting up a transitional justice mechanism which particularly deals with instances of mass violence, sexual violence in the state. Because since the last two days, and since the video has come out, it's become very clear, as I said, by the chief minister's own admission, that the instances of sexual violence aren't limited to this particular case of the video that we are seeing. That there must have been more than 2 to 3 dozen such cases, maybe hundreds of such cases unfolding in Manipur since more than 2 months. Who will deal with these cases? And as we know, there's a certain social shame and stigma attached to sexual violence, because of which it's sort of a very unfortunate natural deterrence against women from coming out and reporting those instances of sexual violence. So it's not enough for administration or law enforcement officials to just sermonize and preach and say that women should come out and report sexual violence. It's not so easy for women to do that. It's the onus is on the administration to create that safe and just and anonymized environment for women to come and report sexual violence. And there are several examples and models from around the world on how to do that, from Rwanda, from former Yugoslavia, and other domains of civil war, where such transitional justice mechanisms are set up. And it is by doing this that a society can genuinely move towards reconciliation and healing. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, given the overall tenor and attitude of the state government particularly. Yeah.
And General Meston, how can armed forces, how can General Meston, army can take care of vigilantism for a short period of time? What ways army can be used to prevent vigilantism of any sort? Right now, they have done everything not to provoke any social consequence, social reaction. That is very evident through videos and other things that have been tweeted out. But what can be done? What should be done? What needs to be done?
The army has a tremendous role now, but is the army being allowed to function? That is the first question. The Indian Army, who had apprehended 11 terrorists, and one of them was a kingpin, the most dreaded terrorist, and who got them released? We know the answer. The women of a particular ethnicity precluded the army from even taking them. And this is what exactly is happening. And that is why I stated that the women power is now being used as an instrument of uh, as a weapon. So firstly, army is not being allowed to function the way an army can function. So that is a start point, and this is a lead point. This is the most important aspect. And here I would also like to add on that immediate thorough inquiry needs to be. I do not know why people have slept quiet on this incident. A dreaded terrorist, 11 dreaded terrorists who had killed soldiers of the 6th Dogra Regiment. They have been left scot free and they are roaming scot free. No one has even asked this question. Tomorrow, are we prepared to leave terrorists in JNK and everywhere with this kind of a scenario where women come and start getting them released and they preclude the use of the armed forces? Where are we heading to? Army has a different role. Army was performing its role and we were not allowed to perform our basic mandate. This is so sad about this is so sad, and I think immediate inquiry needs to be ordered into this aspect. Who were the ringleaders? They could be of any gender. Who were the ringleaders? Who got so many women mobilized? After all, we all know how is a mob formed. There are only onlookers. They just join. But who has initiated it? When the internet was banned and so forth, who has got these people mobilized and used them? Why shouldn't those people be held accountable? In fact, this is, I would like to convey through a channel, this should not be taken lightly because tomorrow this will send a lesson to all the terrorists, use the women effectively and get your cadres released. So immediate inquiry needs to be ordered and it needs to be investigated. Again, this is a total failure of the state administration. The police, obviously, we all know the answers where they're why they have failed. And I'm very glad. Yesterday, I was hearing one of the TV channel, probably one of the ex BGP of Manipur. If I'm not wrong, his name was Mr. Vora. He was very candid in blaming the police cadres there. I really appreciate the guts of this officer who is of course retired, but he highlighted the truth because majority of them would not even like to admit the truth. Now coming on to the question you have asked, how can army prevent the vigilance? I don't feel we can be doing that. That is not a task because it is again everyone is talking about we have to look for some solutions. These solutions have to be, in fact, now focused. And I gave you, I think, uh, about a few days back, an example of when I was in Rwanda, how the same country, a centuries-old divide between the Hutus and Tutsis, how it has been resolved, and today they are living amicably. So it is possible that the two communities, the two ethnicities can live together in Manipur, and various things have to be thought of. Now I can give you some solutions. Firstly, the police was involved. So we have to reconstitute, restructure the police. We need to ascertain whether it was dominated only by one ethnicity what, or what is the mix of ethnicities. Ideal situation is where there is a mix of ethnicity and led in some cases by some ethnicity and in other cases by some. So it constitutes a balanced force. Number two, all ringleaders in the police department, irrespective of the rank, whoever was instrument in telling their cadres, run away, surrender your weapons, they need to be investigated and they need to be, in fact, just dismissed. There is no other shorter way of that and put behind bars. Not only dismissal. This is a betrayal. This is cheating the country, cheating your own people. We cannot leave our post and run away. It is the worst crime a soldier or a policeman can commit.